All right. Hi, Miss Trena Aloma, Mrs. Trena Aloma. How are you?
I am well. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Thank you
Good.
so much. You know what? I'm gonna say thank you so much for saying yes to this interview. But how long has this been coming?
Oh
Remember,
my gosh.
about 3 years now.
Wasn't it pre-pandemic, right?
It was. It
Yeah.
was. I
Yeah.
think
So at least 3 years.
2019.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
Right, right. Because what had happened was I did the one when I was doing it on Facebook.
Right.
I I did it with Tiffany Keaton, who's going to do it on here on YouTube about tapping. And the next week I went to do it. Facebook had changed something up, and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't bring the person on like I did with her. It was crazy. So the one person I had after Tiffany, she was as opposed to being up there with me, I was talking to her. She was in the chat, and it just was
Right.
funky. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, I don't like this. So
Right.
I said, forget it. And then much later, I think like maybe a year or so later, I saw that it had changed back, and I was going to do it with you again, but I just never got around to doing it.
Yeah. It's just like life started happening.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So
So it's been a
now,
minute. It's been a minute, but I'm glad to
it,
be here now. I think everything happens when it's supposed to happen. So
exactly,
I'm
because
good.
I like
Yeah.
this, much better. I feel like can reach a broader audience.
Okay.
So yeah, yes. So Trina, I met Trina. I'm just gonna say I met Trina. I have like two Facebook accounts and one business account. I met Trina on my second Facebook account when I started to go public with my readings, doing readings publicly,
Right.
and
Right.
had a whole new Facebook friends list from my old one, my previous one, and just set out to do that. And that's how I met Trina. And I don't even remember exactly how we met because the way I got friends, I didn't know anybody.
Oh,
You
you
know,
know what happened was you were doing readings and I was just getting into it and I wanted information because I was very new and I reached out. I think I reached out to you to like tell me what I'm doing. Tell me,
okay,
I know I had this gift and everything and I reached out to you because you were amazing.
thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
wanted to, hear what you had to say and how you could lead me in the right direction. So I think that's how we actually start talking.
Okay, because I do remember you asking me. I do remember you talking about having a gift, an
Right.
intuitive gift. I do remember that. Yeah, I hope my reading was right. I hope my reading was helpful to you. So, but nevertheless, because I see
Right.
you do readings now on Facebook.
Well, I do. I am still kind of tiptoeing along the sides of it. I
Okay.
do more of card pulls, like
Okay.
just the general card pulls. I
Okay.
haven't gotten out there because I'm still kind of feeling my gift out. Even though it's been with me forever, it's just
Yeah.
like it's a different step when you're doing it out into the public instead of when it just comes like naturally. It's just okay, this is what's happening at this point. Nobody's
Right.
expecting anything, and then
Right.
to get on when you're on, like you're on call right now.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I understand that because when I first started, when I went public like that, I was very nervous. I mean, I had done it for readings for friends at home, and everything. But I was very, very nervous. But it was just like somebody kind of encouraged me one day, and
Yeah.
I just said, "Okay, boom,"
Yep. Yep.
and
And
that's
that's
how
how
that.
it was. You encouraged me. You told me go for it.
Uh,
And so
yeah,
that's
because
how I
that's what.
started doing it even that little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's what was said to me in so many words. I was telling a sister she had a YouTube channel and I wanted to do it. I wanted to work with tarot cards for years, but I
Right.
never did. I would just kind of do psychic readings, for friends,
Right.
family, and whatnot.
Right.
And one
Right.
day, just kind of came to me like, go buy them cards, and I did. I joined the sister's meditation group. She had a channel, and we were talking about it one day, and I told her, I was like, but I'm scared. And she said, yeah, but sister, we can't be scared. And it was just
Right.
something about the way she said that to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
I just started the whole new Facebook and everything. It was just like, just go for it and just, you know,
Yeah.
see what
Yeah. Yeah.
if you ain't no good at it, then just stop. You know what I mean? So, and I'm so
That's all it
glad
is.
because I'm glad I did it because I met you. I met so many wonderful people. Because, like I said, when I started that second page, that second, Facebook profile or whatever, I didn't know anybody. I didn't
Oh
know
wow.
anybody. I purposely set out to friend people that I didn't know, you know.
Okay.
And at first I
Okay.
had like 5,000. I mean, it's dwindled down to 3,000. I'm not on there as much as I used to be, you
Right.
know. But I met
Right.
so many wonderful people, and it's just been like a really, really amazing journey. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
thankful to meet you. But now we're
Yeah.
gonna get started into who Trina is. Introduce us. Introduce yourself to us. You know who you are, what you do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, well, I am Trina on Facebook. I'm Trena Aloma. Bryant came a little bit in 2019, but with a new marriage or whatnot. But I am Trena Aloma of Aloma Solutions. I call my title an intuitive self love coach. I don't necessarily lead with the readings, but I intuitively is part of my is part of me, and therefore is part of my programs. I help Black women identify and heal from things that's keeping them from living and
Mm-hmm.
loving without
Mm-hmm.
fear, because I felt we need a lot of help in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where my focus is at today.
Oh, now what made you like start that? You know what I'm
So
saying?
okay, so as far as the coaching itself,
Mm-hmm.
I retired from the military, and I was still working, full time after I retired. And when you get to a certain age, and I like to call that age, midlife awareness, I don't think it's a crisis unless you
Oh, I
make it a
like that.
crisis. So
Okay.
I became into my midlife awareness, and it just felt like there was more. I was supposed to be doing more, right? And
Okay.
so I would pray, I would focus on, okay, what is it I'm supposed to be doing, trying to figure out what is it I do well, right? And what do I do easily? And in the midst of all of that, I was running into people who were asking questions, who were, I mean, strangers walk. I'm one of those people that if a room full of strangers are there, they are going to come to me and tell me their story and all their
Mm,
business. And what I
okay.
found during the process of praying and asking, what is my next step? I was running into a lot of people who were needing life coaching. Now, I didn't know life coaching was a thing.
Okay.
I didn't know what that was. But
Okay.
as I kept going, it was like one day the light bulb came on. It was like, I was like, okay, I'm helping everybody else. Why can't I figure out what I need help with? And the
Mm,
light bulb came on. It's like, okay, life coaching. And the reason I'm focusing on Black women is because life coaching, when I started, it was after a 23-year marriage. I've been divorced, out there in that world trying to date. And if anybody out in this world trying to date after 40, it's a whole different type of beast. Now, I
yeah.
don't know what the young folk go through,
Hmm.
but it was a whole totally different type beast. But what I found was when I became aware of who I am, and when I start loving who I am
Hmm.
and putting those boundaries and those standards in place for myself, I found that it trickled over into everything else I was doing. And so my
Okay.
focusing on Black women, I'm a Black woman. I'm not saying that I don't help anybody else, but my focus is I am a Black woman. I can speak on the things that Black women go through.
Okay.
I think we as a group have a little bit different things, right? We have a
Yeah.
little bit different things that we kind of need help with a little bit. And so everybody else has a platform. And I feel like we need a platform for us. And
Okay.
so that's how my focus came on Black women.
Okay. What year did you start your business?
I started in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, so basically you kind of base it off of your personal experience and the healing and work that you did on yourself from your 23-year marriage. That's a long time.
absolutely. 23-year
Okay.
marriage, as well as the dating scene that happened after the marriage, realizing how I wasn't quite healed when I was out there dating, which is why I was attracting what I was attracting. And it wasn't
Okay.
until I started working on myself and I
Okay.
saw so many people, especially Black women, going through that exact same thing, because it's just a teeny tiny shift. And I think sometimes just having that person, to help you make that life changing shift is
Okay.
very important.
So what kind of thing, what did you do for yourself, if you don't mind, sharing
Right.
that?
So what happened is after I divorced, I was like a child in a candy store because I got married really, really early. And so coming back
Mm,
into the world as a 40-year-old, I had to kind of reconnect with who I am. And what I was finding was that I was attracting a certain type of person in this whole dating thing. And
Okay.
in the midst of all of that, and when I say attracting a certain type of person, it wasn't the type that I met a lot of good friends. I met a lot of good
Okay.
friends, but there was a common theme going on with me men who didn't have transportation, didn't have a home, or didn't have a
Mm,
job, and some of them didn't have none of them. So I was, and I'm like, why am I attracting this? I have my stuff together. I have a decent job. I got, I'm good from the outside looking in. I'm
mm-hmm.
good. Like I got my stuff together. Why I keep attracting this type of energy?
Right.
And what I realized was there was a piece of healing inside of me that I had done. I've been married for 23 years. I can jump out and be, kid in a candy store, but there is some healing that goes on behind that I hadn't done yet. And so I had to start working on that, and the things that I was believing about myself was part of that healing. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you feel a certain way about yourself, you're going to make decisions based on what you feel about yourself or the way you see the world. And I had to change
Okay.
that up. So yeah,
Okay.
that's how I did it, and that is actually how I help Black women today go through that same exact process.
Did you go to someone, or did you just all self work? I mean,
Listen,
did you
this
did it
is
by yourself?
I say that my process dropped. I won't say dropped. I think it was downloaded from spirit, right?
Okay.
Because I don't see how I would have known, right? You know how
Yeah.
there's some things it seems like, okay, I don't know how I know this, but I know. And I know growing up with gifts and all that type of thing, there are some gifts that you can kind of identify and,
Mm-hmm.
put names to it. But this knowing, I wasn't sure of the name for that, but I
Okay.
just knew that this process was what it was. And
Okay.
I feel like it was just dropped on my spirit from spirit.
Okay.
And yeah,
Okay. All right. That's wonderful. I want to talk more about it. You say that you are now, we were talking about your gifts. Now,
right.
I met with you in 2019, did a reading for you, and you actually did a mini consultation for me. Remember? Because I wanted to kind of get a feel, of how you did your work.
Right. Because
Right, right.
yeah, and I can't remember what happened or how it happened. It's just that okay, keep going.
Okay. Well, I asked you before I was supposed to quote unquote interview you, you know what I mean? And you gave me
Right,
like a mini, sampling of
right,
what you do and how you work with women,
right,
and I like how you said too, so you specifically, your focus is specifically Black women, but you work with, anyone, any woman,
right,
of any racial background or anything. You have clients of various races then?
right. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So that no one has shied away from you saying, that you focus on Black women.
No one has shied away. Um, no one has shied away because I don't. Even though that's my statement. That's my mission statement. I help
Hmm.
Black women identify.
Right.
But when a conversation ensues, or if someone needs help, I have I'm part of another network as well, where people choose according to who they want to, coach with, who they want to coach them, and so
Okay.
these people choose.
Oh,
And in that particular setting, I
okay.
don't have that focus as I have a much broader focus simply because of the organization.
Okay.
So yeah, so those clients, they don't shy away because I'm from a military back. I was in the military for 20 years. I met so many different people. Um, I know that we are all basically the same.
Yeah.
We all want the base same things. But I also know that as Black women, there are things that we go through a little. I mean, I think we're probably one of the main ones who have to, have a conversation with our kids about living in this world.
Mm.
I know there's this whole stigma about Black men and Black women and their relationships. So I know that we go through, a few different things than other people go through, but that doesn't say that the baseline is
Hmm.
different. The baseline
Okay.
is the same, you know.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's just those little nicks and peaks that makes it the focus for Black women as far as that goes. Yeah, so
Okay.
I do. Yeah, so I do work with different races. Yes.
Okay. That's good. I think that's awesome. But what I wanted to say too was, now we were talking. I met with you back then. You wanted to know about your intuitive ability. Well, I don't know if that's what you want to know about, but I do remember you talking about it at some point.
Right. Right.
And here we are 3 years later. However, you say in your mission statement that you are an intuitive.
Right.
Intuitive, what is it? Intuitive self-love coach. Am I right?
Right. Right. That is right. Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
me about that now. How do you use your uh okay, why do you call yourself an intuitive self-love coach? And how do you use your intuition to, do your coaching?
Right. So if you go through the processes, you go through the certifications, and you go through the courses and the classes, you're taught as a coach that you're supposed to take a person from where they are and move them
Hmm.
forward.
Okay.
Intuitively, I can't do that simply because when I connect with a client, I connect with the client.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand that there are things that we have to clean up on the back end first.
Okay.
Because the concept of coaching as it stands is, as things pop up, you'll know how to deal with them as you go forward.
Okay.
My innards, my internal says, no, let's clean it out so it won't pop back up. So we get rid of it. We heal it, and we don't
Okay.
have to worry about it popping back up again. Now, yes, we have stories. We have so many different stories because we've been here for years. So there are so
Mm-hmm.
many different stories that we have picked up. And so healing is always constant. Change it just like change is always constant. Growth is always constant. Thank God.
Right.
Um, but so when I say intuitive, what I mean is there are some things that we can't just start right here and move forward. We have to clean it up in the back. And if I'm feeling that, if I'm with them, I
Mm.
can't just let a person guess.
Okay.
I may be, setting myself up for something. But in the world of coaching, we're supposed to let a person come to their conclusions, which is the main thing. And I
Mm.
do let a person come to their conclusion, but sometimes that becomes, how can you let a person cross a train track when you know a train is coming? You have to scoot them
Okay.
along a little faster. So the
Okay.
intuitive part comes when there's something that I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is where my gifts come in. If I feel
Mm-hmm.
something with that, I'm able to kind of scoot you
Okay.
along a little bit, a little bit without waiting until I see the picture. Sometimes you can't wait for them to see the picture when it's can affect their lives in a certain type of way. So
Okay.
intuitively, that's why I say intuitively. I don't start from right here. We have to
Okay.
heal some things. I believe in the healing process, and so um, that healing process is an intuitive process as well.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So there you are, using your gifts.
Right.
Using those
Right.
gifts, yes. And for a specific um specific thing, a specific
Right.
outcome, and
Right.
specifically an area for Black women and their relationships.
Right.
And like you say, what do you say? Living without guilt.
Living without guilt and loving without fear.
Okay, explain that last part to me. Like, what do you
Okay.
mean living without guilt?
Okay. So a lot of times and I say especially Black women, but I'm sure other women can relate as well. Other
Hmm.
race of women can relate as well. Sometimes we're so busy taking care of others, we feel guilty when we take care of ourselves, when we put ourselves as a priority. We feel
Hmm.
guilty when we spend on ourselves. We feel guilty when we say no to other
Hmm.
people. There's a lot of guilt that we do that we don't even realize that we're doing.
Okay.
When we want to do that big thing, we back down to make somebody else feel comfortable doing it. Not
Yeah.
saying that everybody does, but it is something that is going on with us. That
Okay.
we have a little bit of guilt in living our best lives sometimes. Um,
Okay.
the loving without fear. We go through relationships, we get hurt. We go through relationships and we get hurt. And then we become fearful of even trying. We say we're going to give up, we're tired of it, we're whatever. But we don't realize that the going through, get hurt, going through, get hurt is because we're making those same decisions, the same decisions over and over again, and not
Hmm.
realizing why we keep ending up with that same type of person
Same. Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Something you said I want to say that have you found so basically that the last part is like a cycle, that we just keep repeating over and
Yeah.
over again. And that sounds like it's coming just from um I like how you said this midlife awareness, just an awareness of what oneself and what we're doing, with
Right.
our lives. And I
Right.
also, do you find that most of the women, because I like this midlife awareness. I was sharing someone else used another term when I was telling her what I was going through. She said, I said, I'm going through a midlife crisis. She said, no, you're going through an awakening.
There you go. Midlife awakening.
So I
That
like
works
that
too.
midlife
Yes.
awareness and awakening. I think that's dope. Do
Yeah, that is
you
absolutely
find
dope.
that the most of the women that come to you are middle age, in that
Uh,
middle age range?
it's usually like the early 30s, and
Oh,
they can be as the age goes up to, I think, maybe 60, 62, 63 years old.
wow.
So it's in that space where we feel like something needs to change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you found that I keep this question, oh, that part about the living without guilt. I think that's a huge, huge
Yeah,
issue.
it
Huge
is.
issue, for Black women. Um, I think me and you are around the same age. So we probably, I know I'm Generation X, right? We're both
Right.
Generation
Gen
X.
X. Right. Hmm.
And I always say, I remember when I graduated from college, there was my mom came, to DC for my graduation. And I remember on the cover of that magazine or something, there's a Generation X, and they said they don't have nothing to offer society.
Oh, really? Oh,
I
oh,
was like,
wow.
wow. And I remember
I
my
was not
dad taught
expecting that.
huh?
I was not expecting that.
Right. I wasn't either when I saw that. And I remember my dad, he was very well read, he kept up with everything, and he was telling me about that. He said, Nick, they say your generation don't have nothing to offer, society. And
Right,
I was like,
right,
yeah, that's kind of cold.
right,
And I
right,
was so confused as to, like, well, I was like 21 years old,
right,
like, what do they
right,
mean? And I
right,
had just graduated from college when I saw that. So, and it wasn't, they didn't say nothing about race. They didn't say, just Generation X, period. So I'm coming,
right,
graduate college with a whole bunch, of course, people
right,
my age feeling like, hey, we about to go out there and do our thing. And no, we weren't, true products of the 60s, but we were still, I feel like, more, into what was happening in our
right,
world. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
With our age group. So when they
right.
said that, I was like, what is it? Why? Um, but I do see, as I've gotten older, I'm 50 now, I was 21 then,
Right.
the what can I say? Uh, Let me get my thoughts together. How that whole thing of that living without guilt, at least for our generation. Now, I don't know
Right.
about women younger,
Right. Right.
generation below are like the millennials, because
Right.
for me, I've learned quite a bit from millennials on Facebook.
Right.
You know,
Right. Right.
when I got on Facebook and I started friending women that were millennials younger than me, I was just like amazed. Number one, how free and open they were, you
Right.
know what I mean,
Right.
about their lives and things like that, because still I think for us, we came up with parents that was like, shh,
Right. Right.
don't
Everything is
talk
a
about those
secret.
things. You don't tell your
Right.
business. You don't this, blah, blah, blah. And then to do it on the World Wide Web where anybody
Right.
can see it,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But for me personally, it helped me with me.
Right.
Like the Bible says, and the child shall lead them. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
not
Right.
children, but younger than us. It helped me,
Right.
and so I'm not quite sure that generation would have that issue. They might. I don't know.
Okay. So the way I see that is this,
Hmm.
and no disrespect to dad, but who raised us?
I say that's what I say. The baby boomers.
Right. So baby boomers, if we don't have anything to offer, who raised us? Yes. Yet the millennials are out here killing it. Who raised them? So what have we truly offered?
Thank you.
Look,
Thank you. Yeah,
we
because
done started it back up again. So
right, right. I think I agree. Like, baby boomers raised us, and that was that shh,
yeah,
and it's still
everything's a
the not
secret. Put it up under the
everything
carpet. Yeah.
right, everything's secret, wipe it under the carpet. That's that whole thing of, still in their mindset, get your paper, get a job that you're
Right.
supposed to be at for the next 30, 40, 50 years. You understand
Hmm.
what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
And I think too for Black women, and maybe even women, white women too. I don't know. I wasn't raised in their homes, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But this whole idea of, for women, back then it was, you don't have to get married, but if you do, you just make sure you have you a job for yourself and cover
Right.
yourself. And if it don't work out, you got that job and you can leave him. But
Right.
that was the attitude. You
Right.
understand what
See,
I'm
and that's
saying?
why I think that's a, I don't know if that's a Black woman thing, but it seems as if that's a Black woman thing, because I was reading an article and I can't remember where I was reading it from, and they were saying that Black women go to college to learn, white women go to college to marry. And I don't know how true that is, but I did read that in a magazine. I can't remember, like I said, which article it was. But
Hmm.
that's one of those different things that we have to deal with a little differently. We were taught to be the strong Black woman,
Yeah.
you know, and now everybody put everything on our backs.
Yeah.
And one of a part of my program is healing in luxury, because I feel
Mhm.
like we do need to heal. We need to heal from broke back, first of all, because of
Yeah.
everything that's placed from society, from the culture, from our kids, from our parents. Everything seems to be placed on our backs, and there's a
Hmm.
healing that needs to take place even in that,
Hmm.
because we're in a space where we're taking care of our parents, we're
Hmm.
taking care of our kids.
Hmm.
And when I say kids, that can be from 0 to however old.
Right.
We're taking care of them, and we're taking care of business, and in that business, we're teaching that those millennials who, like you say, are killing it, how to kill it. We're allowing them. We're giving them the safety nets.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff that we take on, and I have no regrets in learning how to take care of business. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that,
Yeah.
but the reason I feel like Black women need that extra is because we do need to rest. We do need to exhale and breathe. I mean, we gonna put our cakes on, but we got
Yeah.
let's take them off for a minute and get us together, fill
Right.
us up, and then we can go back out there and finish saving the world, because that's what we
Hmm.
do. We save the world.
But yeah, because like when we save ourselves, essentially we save the
Yep.
world.
Save yourself
That
so that
that
you. Yep.
Yeah, that whole thing of I love that though, living without guilt, because I do think that's a huge issue for us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Having our own ideas about life, what we want for ourselves. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yep.
And sometimes it may, be outside of the box. It may not be the traditional thing.
Right.
And I
Right.
don't feel as though definitely for our generation that that was supported
Right.
at
Because
all.
we're like that turning point. Our generation is that turning point. Our parents, maybe talking about, well, how did our grandparents stay married for so long, and we know what was going on with all of that.
Right.
We're the turning point where we decided, you know what, we're not going to just stay in something just because,
Mm-hmm.
or we no longer have to stay in something because we need somebody in order to live. We are killing it. They can say what we are or not, but Black women are killing it in
Mm-hmm.
stats and whatever else. Now, I do think we are, in the killing of it. We have relied so heavily on that masculine energy that we kind of neglect the feminine energy, and
Okay.
that heal and that living without guilt kind of causes a balance inside of that
Okay.
feminine and masculine energy, because everybody has both. We all
Yeah.
should have a masculine and feminine energy, and it should be balanced. But I
Right.
think ours is a little bit off balance because of that strong Black woman whole uh, label that's been placed on us, what we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to do, the
Mm-hmm.
things that we've been placed in positions to do because of what's going on around us. Um,
Okay.
it's kind of knocked us off balance a little bit.
Well, now when you say, let me ask you this first. How has it been, the whole living without guilt aspect? What have you found with your clients after you've worked with them, and
Right.
they've done the work? What have you found, to be in general, the conclusion, because it doesn't mean to, and I know you don't say that, to neglect,
Right.
what you have created for,
Right. Right.
family, children, home, and all of that
Right.
kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But at the same time, but don't neglect yourself either. It's
Right.
a kind of a
Right.
balance. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And so how has the how have women been receptive to that aspect?
Freedom. Freedom. This one particular client, it's funny because she reached out a couple of days ago, and I tell her, I was like, I'm always talking about you because you were just like my, you're like my poster, my
Mhm.
poster woman. And I can remember when she first came to me, and she was talking about she didn't feel as she came to me as a professional issue,
Okay.
and what I believe is no matter what part of our lives, it starts with us. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's professional, I don't care if it's romantic, I don't care if it's from your family, I don't care if it's from your friends. It starts with us. And so she
Mhm.
came with an idea that her professional life was stagnant. Like she couldn't speak up. The things that she wanted to do, the projects that she wanted to work on. When we started working together, and we realized that that was just overflowing from her home life, where she was quiet. She gave up her voice, with her
Okay.
mom, with her child, with her spouse. She gave up her
Mm.
voice because she felt like she was responsible for everything. She was responsible for keeping the peace. She was responsible for making sure everybody's taken care of. And she didn't feel as if she truly had a voice in much. And
Okay.
so, when I started, we started the program, and, we started working together, and she started realizing, you know what, I can love them and love me. I
Mm.
can say no, just like when they tell me no, I survive.
Right.
We
Right.
think that
Right.
nobody's going to survive if we say no, or if we say yes to something that we want to do. But the truth of the matter is, you believe that because of something, right? You believe that
Mhm.
because of some story that you were told,
Mhm.
from a child or from teenager or whatever.
Mhm.
I can remember one lady was, as she was talking, she was busy, 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 always feeling like she had to continue, just keep going, going, going.
Mhm.
And when I asked her the question of, who told you you need to keep going,
Yeah.
she didn't know. She was
Yeah.
just like, I just feel like I'm supposed to keep going. When we actually went through the process, she remembered. This is the funny part about this process. I have not met anybody who did not remember the story that started the thought. I don't care how far back it was. It's like
Okay.
it's in the back of the mind. We don't pay attention to it. It's almost like white noise. But this young lady, she remembered the story immediately, like most do. And
Mhm.
it was funny because she was a teenager, and she was working for this guy who she looked up to. She
Okay.
really looked at and admired. She was doing a good job for him. And when she went for a promotion, he basically told her, "You can't have the promotion because nobody's going to listen to a black girl."
Wow.
And she's been working since 14 to prove.
Mm.
And here she
Oh,
is as an adult.
wow.
Here
Okay.
she is as an adult in her 40s, still working, trying to prove
Mhm.
that she's worthy.
Mhm.
And that aha moment that happens when you realize, I'm the only thing that making this. This is a contract I got with myself. I can break this at any moment.
Mhm.
But when you realize that you can, I don't have to put myself through it. I have exceeded beyond, most in my group. And here I am still pushing myself. Why? And it's because she was still making decisions based on this person that she admired, telling her that being a black girl
14.
wasn't right.
Right.
And so that's
Mhm.
freedom to me,
Mhm.
and to hear. Sometimes it comes with tears,
Yeah.
sometimes it comes with like serious quiet, but
Mhm.
it comes, right?
Okay.
And it's
Mhm.
like, it's to me, it's like I can see sunlight now, I can breathe a little
Right.
bit.
Right. That's always something I think about with people, especially as we how we meet people online, and we so quickly, well, not just even online. Period. We so quickly draw conclusions
Mm-hmm.
about people that we don't even know. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
But we do it. And it's like, but there's always something you know,
Mm-hmm.
that got that person to where they are
Right.
always, you know what I'm saying? That
Always,
we can,
absolutely.
and a lot of times I like that, how you, like you said, you remember,
Mm-hmm.
you may not, like, it's like in the back of your mind, like you said, like
Right,
white noise, whether it's trying to prove yourself or
right,
whatever the case may be, you can
right.
always remember back to
Mm-hmm.
what was said to you or a seed that was planted in your mind, and I think that's
Absolutely.
the awesome thing about what you do, because it allows a person to revisit that out loud as opposed
Yes.
to just being there,
Yep.
when they can revisit it out loud. Like you said,
Sweeping it up under the rug, that's what they're, it's up under the rug, but every time you walk, you trip. And
right.
so,
Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that.
this is what we did, is what we were taught to do.
Yeah.
And in a
Yeah.
sense, regardless of what generation you're in,
Mm-hmm.
something that changes the way you think about yourself or the way that you think about the world is implanted in your head, because it's a path. You're creating a pathway every time you respond to the stimuli that
Mm-hmm.
triggers you
Right.
from that story.
Right. That's true. But
Yeah.
I feel like it allows you to pull that thing up by the root,
Yep.
not just,
Yeah.
the other things that come from that story, the other,
Yeah.
branches and fruit
Yep.
that comes from it.
Yep.
Let me pick this apple off, this bad apple off, or this bad
Yep.
apple off. No, let's get
Yep.
down to the root of the issue. And when a person can,
Absolutely.
because I feel like a person truly just heals themselves. They just are given the tools, to
Absolutely.
do that,
Absolutely. That's the only person who can heal you. You.
Hmm.
You're the only person who can heal you.
Right.
But like you
Right.
said, there's tools.
Mhm.
There's processes, there's steps that you can take to do it. And the folks who, because when you're in the middle of a mud, you can't see the clear land until
It's
somebody
true.
pull you out of it, or you have some way
Right.
to see the clear land. So
Right.
yeah, we can say we have to save ourselves, but sometimes it takes just a little bit of help
Yeah.
from on the outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now with your coaching, did you take classes and stuff like that? I heard you talking about classes, to become a
Oh
life
my
coach.
gosh. I've taken courses, I've got, certificates, I got,
Mhm.
I always want to learn. I always want to learn.
Okay.
Um, Coaching to me, the certifications that we take in the classes and the courses that I'm talking about that I've taken, they didn't teach me how to coach.
Mm. Okay.
They taught me how to process things. They taught me how to make things a process, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Because when I look back on my life, I think a good coach has been coaching all their lives.
Okay.
I think the good coach is the one who is always the friend or the person that people come to, strangers, friends, whomever. The age doesn't matter. And you're able to see a pathway. You're able to see a different perspective. So I've seen people who go through different types of certifications. I've had people go through certifications and then come back to me and say, okay, what does this mean? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes the knowing the process is good, but I
Mm-hmm.
think there still has to be a baseline of that spirit there. You know what I'm saying? Of
Okay.
being able to just see that perspective. And I know the coaching field is not regulated, and I think that some certifications are definitely needed. I do believe that going through some type of class, some type of way, so that you can realize it's just not about you out here giving advice to people, but
Okay.
actually creating a process to lead a person from point A to point B to point C.
Okay.
I think that's important
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
Okay. So you do find that it was valuable. It kind of like the classroom aspect, along with what you intuitively know or feel or pick up on as you connect with a client.
I
Would
think
you
it's
kind of say that?
important. I think it's, if I had to give it a ratio from coaching to, what part of it that played, I say certifications play probably a 10 to 15%
Okay.
in developing a coach, because what I believe the certifications do, and it was the same for me. It makes you feel, how we have the imposter syndrome, like we know what we're doing, but we just need something to say that we can do it.
Yeah.
It makes you feel certified.
Okay.
It makes you. So
Right.
I think it's more of a confidence booster, and I
Okay.
think that's necessary.
Okay. How long do you, when you get a client, how long do you want them to work with you? I mean, what's your general rule of thumb on that?
My general rule of thumb is I have a 6-week program, right?
Okay.
Because I
Hmm.
think um, the steps are the steps are the steps. In my program, it's a rinse and repeat. So once you go through my program, you can always come back for a refresher. You can always come back for, what, I just need a little extra help on something, whatever. You can always come back. But once you get the process down, the process is the process. I don't want anybody to depend on me for life, because I have kids to do that. I have too
Right.
many other people to do that already. I want to help you through the process so that you can see, oh, okay, okay. Come back for the refresher. Absolutely. I even
Hmm.
offer healing and luxury retreats, where it's just like it's like an intensive, but it's healing and luxury. It's a retreat. You just
Okay.
going through those refreshers on the retreat and in a
Hmm.
beautiful space. Um, so 6 weeks is about where it should be, of course, with accountability, of course, with follow-up. I had people who I coached last year who still can I get a call? Can I,
Okay.
can we talk for a minute? So I still get people who do that to this day. Yeah.
Okay. For a fee.
Look,
It's
because
still a business.
otherwise it will be, you will never get rest. You have to set up boundaries, and you have
Yeah.
to set up, the times and timelines like that. Absolutely.
Right. Right. All right. Okay. Because it's still a business. We good
Yeah,
capitalism.
healing is,
We got to be
yeah,
real about
healing
it.
is an investment. I
Yeah.
mean, it's an investment to get your life to the way to you're happy, and
Right.
I think that is priceless.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Have you had many clients become life coaches themselves?
Um, no. One actually is in the process. She's very
Okay.
interested, but I haven't. Oh, well, you know what? Two. Two is
Okay.
doing quite well. One is doing quite well,
Okay.
because I think she's more of a grief type coach. I was more of a mentor for her,
Okay. I
and
was gonna
she,
ask that. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, I was
Uh-huh.
more of a mentor for her. The one that I felt like is on the borderline of becoming a coach. I'm coaching her, and she's trying to get that in a space where she's not just. So I
Hmm.
hate this. I don't want to say I'm helping her become a coach. I'm helping her to develop her mindset to know that she can do it if she want to do it, that she can
Okay.
make it the way she want to make it. Because I don't want to be mistaken for a business coach, because there is
Oh,
a difference.
yeah. Right. We
Yeah.
very like you just said, the one about grief. She's more
Right.
grief. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you don't have like at this point, or if you're interested in it, if that's maybe a goal, like a mentorship program yourself, or you offering certifications and whatnot.
No, I do not. I do not offer certifications simply because, like I said, even though it's important, you have to excuse my. I have my dog outside of the door who's.
That's
I'm trying
okay.
to get.
I
I'm
hear.
trying to get. I'm trying to call reinforcements in to get my dog. Wait.
Okay,
Um.
that's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. So yeah. So no, I don't offer certifications simply because I feel like, and this is going against the grain. I
Hmm.
feel like you are you already have coaching skills. You already have coaching skills. The people who would come to me and say, okay, help me to become a coach, there are some people who I just feel like you probably do better being a consultant, or you probably do better being something different. So I don't
Okay.
offer that because I'm not here to tell you what your dreams are and what you can and shouldn't do. So I
Okay.
stick strictly to I'm in my lane right here.
In your
Staying
lane.
in the lane.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And you are like satisfied with your business. Like, I mean, like, is there more you want to add on to it, or you just as it is want to
Um,
keep as it
I'm
is?
sure it will continue to evolve. It has evolved from a relationship coach, which where I started at, which was more of the romantic side.
Hmm.
You mentioned online. I met my husband now online, and so I
Okay.
am a true advocate for online dating, because I think
Mhm.
that a lot of people think that when you go online, you're going to meet these
Yeah,
Martians. The people who are online are the people who are here on Earth, who you're going to meet in the grocery store. It's the same as that. Your
that's true.
neighbor is going to be,
That's true. Hmm.
it's the same people out here. So I'm a total advocate of that. I just believe that when you get yourself together, online dating becomes a little bit more a successful process, because you're no
Okay.
longer dealing in desperation. You're not dealing in, a low self-esteem. You're not dealing in low confidence. When
Okay.
you're able, this is the beauty of what I do. And this is what I really appreciate. When you get to who you truly are, and you understand who you truly are, and what is yours, you don't go through the back and forth with potential.
Mm.
And I don't want that to be taken the wrong way, because I
Hmm.
think potential is great, but you don't
Hmm.
go back and forth and say, okay, maybe he's going to change, or maybe she's going to change, or maybe if I do this, they will like me more. We don't do that. You don't do that no more.
Okay.
I if I don't do this, then somebody else is going to do it, and so I'm going to
Okay.
go outside of my moral boundaries and do this so I can keep or get or whatever.
Hmm.
When you get to know who you are, you don't have to do that no more, because you love
Okay.
you for who
Right.
you are. And
Right.
you have gotten to the point where I don't care what this package look like
Hmm.
outside of me. I'm I am it. So I
Right.
don't have to change myself to fit into something else or to someone else's view of what I'm supposed to be.
Okay. I want to get to what you sent me real quick.
Okay.
you wanted to talk about how self-love shows up in romantic relationships and how we make well, you kind of did talk about the decisions on stories from the
Right,
past, but that was in terms of like the living without guilt
right, right,
aspect. Now talk to us about the loving without fear, because uh that's how you started off as a
right,
relationship coach. And
right,
I know I love that story because I remember clearly when you have talked about it, meeting your husband online, and
right,
how you're
right.
a huge advocate of that.
Right,
Hmm.
right, right. So, how do knowing us roll over into our life? So, as I said at the beginning, when I first divorced, I was out there like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
And as I said, I was finding the same type of person, same
Okay.
personality, and like I said, I met some good people who didn't necessarily fall into it, but that wasn't lasting either because of where I was,
Hmm.
um, you know, and so I was attracting all of this different stuff, right? And when okay, so in my marriage, in my first marriage, it was infidelity, right? And
Hmm.
with infidelity, there's a whole bunch of self esteem things, there's a whole bunch of fear around different things. And so I had a fear that I didn't realize I had in my happiness, right, of being free.
Okay.
But I
Hmm.
still had this fear that I was holding on to, right?
Okay.
And so when I was meeting these people, it wasn't that, I was pushing out that I want, or we say we attract who we match or who we marry. I say we attract who we match or who we marry. We either go attract somebody who's just like us, or we're gonna
Hmm.
find that match that goes with it, right? So you know how
Okay.
sometimes when a person has been through an abusive relationship, they seem to always find the abuser,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
vice versa, or
Yeah.
you're with somebody who who's very 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 quiet and meek and mild, whatever that's going on in their lives, what for whatever reason they meet that person who's loud, who can take over and loud, or the insecure people always meet those bossy people type things.
Hmm.
So when you're um I was living in that match part, right?
Hmm.
My fear that I didn't work on was attracting people who I knew I would never commit to because I was afraid of that. And
Okay.
until I came over that, this is what I mean. We're out here dating stuff, and we don't even realize that we're putting it into the atmosphere, into the whole energy field or whatever. All
Hmm.
of that insecurity, all of that fear was pulling in people who I felt I would be safe with. I can leave, and there's nothing. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not going to be hurt, right?
Hmm.
And I hadn't
Right.
healed from that. It's just like the child who grew up and probably saw their father leave the house, right? And or their mother leave the house. And
Hmm.
the parent who was there was saying, you're just like your mom, or you're just like your dad, and blah blah
Right.
blah. And as a child, you take that on, right? So
Right.
as an adult, now you're out here dating, and
Hmm.
that fear is still there because you
Hmm.
haven't healed from it, because you believe it for a little bit in your head. Somewhere you believe that it's true about yourself. So it
Right.
hasn't been healed yet. So you're out here dating, and anytime you get ready to get really, really serious, you start looking for the phone numbers. You start looking for the things. So and
Mm.
what you're basically doing is you're sabotaging relationships because
Yeah.
you don't want them to leave you. So you decide you're going to leave them first. So you start sabotaging things. And so we're
Okay.
out here loving inside of fear. We're doing things. We say we can never keep our relationship. This always happens. This person always doing this. But it's
Hmm.
because we are, when you're looking for something, you're going to find it whether it's there or not, right?
Right. Right.
If you're living inside of fear that every time, that I'm afraid that if this person is going to leave me, so I'm going to find something. It can be
Hmm.
something totally innocent, but your brain ain't going to let it go. Your brain's going to say, this is what it is. And you're going to make your decision based on that. And so you're making
Hmm.
decisions based on fear, where you're sabotaging your relationships as a 40-year-old woman, just because of what happened when you were 4. And you have been reinforcing that you're just like your daddy from 4 to 14 to 24, 34, and you continue to reinforce that. And
Hmm.
so that's what I mean by loving without fear. You can let that fear go.
Okay.
Nobody want to be hurt.
Right.
um,
That's right.
when you get into yourself, you're able to see the red flags a little bit easier. You're able to understand that when things happen, I always say every relationship is a lesson, every breakup is a promotion. Every time you break up, you're not going to go down. And once you realize that I am building, I am growing, that
Hmm.
becomes so much easier to accept life. So much easier to accept the process, to trust the
Mhm.
process, that it's only
Okay.
going to get better as you continue to grow. So when I say that, I don't mean that you're never going to have your heart broken again. What I'm
Mhm.
saying is you're going to realize that if my heart is broken, uh, what is it broken for? Is it
Okay.
broken because I want to be with this person who cheated? Nobody
Mhm.
wants to, but we
Right.
attach to that because we are fearful, or we believe that this is what we are loving, when in
Okay.
reality we're only loving the fantasy of what it could be.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's this whole process that
Yeah.
but the truth of the matter is you are basically making decisions based on that one story that you have started to believe about yourself or the world around you.
And those two definitely go together. Because that living without fear, no, the living without guilt can be the loving without fear. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Absolutely. It
Yeah,
absolutely can be.
yeah, and
Absolutely
vice
can be.
versa too. They
And
go
vice
together.
versa. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. It goes
yeah.
together. That's why I say
Okay.
everything always comes back to you.
Yeah.
It always comes back to you.
Now tell us about your retreat. Now this where you going? I may have to hop on board with that right there. Tell
So
us about it, the places you have been, and where you're going.
okay, so when the pandemic started is when I started focusing on including retreats as part of my program. And
Okay,
so she's back. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
uh, so
Okay.
um,
Mm-hmm.
I started my retreats, like I said, just as the pandemic started, maybe the year before. Well, actually, it was the year of. It was 2019 where I actually started incorporating retreats inside of it, because I realized that we can talk, but sometimes living it um, reinforces it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been to North Carolina. I've done it in North Carolina. We did Deep Creek. Is it Deep Creek up in Maryland?
Okay.
We are Mexico was this year, and we're doing
Okay.
Thailand is 2023.
Come on
We're
now.
going to Thailand in
Come on
2023.
now. Give me the dates.
Thailand is going to be in September. I'm going to finalize everything once, I kind of, because it's kind of ways away. I'd
Yeah.
like to give people an opportunity so that they're able to, be
Get the money
comfortable
together. Right.
in the
Okay.
retreat as well. Yeah.
Now,
And
and how
so,
long is it for?
well, okay, Mexico is 5 days. Mexico is 5 days.
Okay.
Um, Thailand is going to be total of 9 because of the travel time there and travel time back. So you're going to have about 7 days actually in Thailand.
Okay.
Um, and it's all about, like I say, it's what I call my healing and luxury, whole branding around that. That means I want you to come on a space where you get to live that, renewed you. You get
Okay.
to, you get to experience taking care of you,
Okay.
being who you are. Because a lot of times we think that we are so, like we're so abnormal, right? And we should not be the same. We are all different people, and a lot of times we start comparing ourselves to different people, and we start
Yeah.
comparing our lives. And the truth of the matter is, when you take the time to actually be you, enjoy you, and I can put you in a safe space, where
Okay.
in a beautiful space where
Yeah.
you can be you
Okay.
unapologetically. You can be
Okay.
you. And
Okay.
inside of the retreats, we do a couple of workshops
Okay.
where we go through the 4R healing system, which is the recall, rewrite, release, and renew process. It's
Say
just
that
like
again. You went through that kind of
it's
fast.
the 4R healing process. This is the process that I was telling you I feel was downloaded into my spirit by
Okay.
spirit. It's recall, and that's what I was telling you, recalling that story that
Right.
made us change the way we thought about ourselves or thought about the world.
Okay.
Rewriting the narrative. Rewriting is when
Mm.
you take that story and you look at it as an observer. When you
Okay.
look at it as an observer, you can remove those emotions that's attached to the story.
Okay.
It's like, for example, when we go through something as a child, we would continue to blame ourselves. But if we
Hmm.
look at that exact same story as an observer and see our child in our space or any child in our space, we realize that it's not the child's fault, right? Because we can say that to our story, but because
Mm.
we're there, we hold on to those emotions. When you can look at it as an observer, you can see what the real story is, that there's no
Mm.
way that a 4-year-old is the reason why a grown person left, right?
That's right.
And that's
Right.
just our. And then there's the releasing part. The releasing is where you actually have a process where we kind of meet our inner child, that child that got the story. You know,
Okay.
where we actually, and it's a whole process, and it's where you get the mirror, or you actually, it's like a honoring your inner child
Mm-hmm.
process, where you are releasing that child from holding on to that responsibility. Because
Yes.
until that child release it, and you as the adult with a new story come in, you're going to stay inside of that little process, that little cycle.
Okay.
And then it's the renew, and that's the real part of the retreat, is the renewing. This is where you start building and filling yourself with all the good stuff.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so that is how the retreat kind of flows. We go through workshops for each one of those sections, and then in the process of being in this beautiful space.
Okay. That
Yeah.
sounds awesome. That's beautiful. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Especially that you chose Thailand. You know what I mean?
Yes,
All
yes.
the places were nice, but that is like
Yes.
when you sent me that, and I was like, oh, excuse me,
Right. Yes,
I
yes,
may have to
yes.
get on this myself. Now, do you only want your clients to come, or can they bring guests? Are children allowed to come? How does it work?
Usually, what happens is it's a client based,
Okay.
because I want you to have gotten something, because
Okay.
I don't want people to mistake it for a vacation. I'm not a travel agent. I don't plan your vacations like that. I do
Right.
do vacations outside of my, just what I love doing with my family and friends and type of thing. But for
Okay.
the healing and luxury retreats, I am not a travel agent. And I don't want
Okay.
people to misunderstand that this is me just planning your trip.
Right.
This is,
Okay.
this is actually a process. Once you get to that space, there will be workshops while you're there.
There's work.
There is a
Right.
process.
Okay.
So so that's so the one that's in Thailand, I actually and it's funny because I just posted something about that
Hmm.
I was thinking about people who my husband, he's not a planner at all. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, I know there are people out there who's waiting. Like, he's not planning anything, and I can't, maybe my skills are not that, that up to par, but I am allowing people to bring their mates, their friends, their spouse, or whatever, to
Oh,
join them, because Thailand is I won't say once in a lifetime, because this will be my second time going there, but it's one of those trips where bring your spouse, bring your friend, bring whomever as part
okay.
of the retreat. Of course they can, participate, because this is helpful for anybody. But
Okay.
it gives you the opportunity to spend that time, because one thing I've learned about retreats is the healing part is wonderful, but that
Hmm.
luxury part is just as important, where you get
Yeah.
time to yourself. You get time to, view the island, or, explore the different
Hmm.
things that different parts of the world has to offer. So sometimes you want to get away from them, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But so I have the option open, where if you want to, use this opportunity to use that downtime to actually spend with your spouse, then of
Hmm.
course they can come for that as well.
Okay. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I like that the luxury because well, I think in general in our society we just don't get that,
Right.
too
We
often.
really don't. We
You know,
really don't.
luxury for us, if we can get our hair and nails done and pedicure and whatnot, we think that, that's that self-care, that's that
Right.
luxury
Right.
because we really don't have a lot of time. I mean, most of our
Right.
time is responsibility, work,
Right.
home.
Right.
We spend a lot of time at work with
Right.
with
Right.
strangers who end up becoming family because we spend so much time with them. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Right.
So like
Absolutely.
real true luxury, we don't get that very
No,
often.
we really don't. And a lot of times, and it's funny because the first time I went to Thailand, I
Mm,
thought this was going to be this major thing. And yes, I am such a detail stickler, and I look for the details. I look for make sure the transfers and the boat rides and everything is all together. But I know a
right.
lot of people don't do that. And it can
Hmm.
seem like it's such an overwhelming task that we just forego it. We don't do it because it's like it's so much easier just to go on a cruise. And I'm not nothing against cruises, because I love cruises,
Right.
but it seemed like it's so much easier to do something that's very simple, instead of taking a step to show that this is not that bad at all. I just get up just like everything else.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's kind
yeah.
of funny. Like, I was looking at some pictures when I went to eat, got to go to Egypt
Right.
last
Right.
August, and
You went
listen,
to
we were,
Egypt?
yeah, me, took
Oh
my daughter to
wow.
Egypt. Yeah, I found a very inexpensive group that was going. Some friends of mine told me about it,
Right.
and
Right.
I sat there vacillating, like, should I go? Shouldn't I go? And it was kind of like, are you stupid? You got the money to go. It's cheap. What are you thinking
Yes.
about? There's no
Right.
question. You know what I mean? But that's
It,
that living without guilt.
Right. And we
That's
have to
that
learn that
living without
investing in
guilt.
ourselves is
Hmm.
okay. Sometimes we're, and I understand that, you have to take care of business, but we have to understand that it's okay to invest in ourselves. It's okay
Yeah,
to pay that extra little bit to get that peace of mind, to get that experience, to get
yeah,
that memory. And a
yeah.
lot of times we don't do that either. We just,
Right.
we just feel like, oh well, we got to make sure we have this rainy day. And
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
that in it of itself is inviting rainy days. Who want to say for
Right. Who want to save for right? I get it. Well,
right,
because it's like I had the money and I was vacillating with that whole idea. Well, maybe I should use this for sudden, sudden, sudden. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
I promise you, it seemed like God just came down like, psh, psh, slapped me in my face. Like, are you stupid? What are you doing?
right,
Take
right,
your, and I took my daughter. It
right,
was almost a full 2 weeks. Man, listen, Trina, we walked, walked, walked. I mean, it was work, but at the same time, it was beautiful. It was relaxing. It was like, wow, it was breathtaking. And
right,
yeah, I came back like all the way in deep in the red. Okay. I was all the
right,
way in burgundy. You
right,
understand? My
right.
bank account was like, oh gone. I had nothing. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I recovered quickly, thank God, because I had a little stash somewhere else. So, and I was able to recover
Yep.
quickly. And it's like came back, with how when you travel overseas, it can mess up your stomach because you're taking
Yep.
in different kind of foods and spice. I thought it was just me. I talked to somebody, she said she travels overseas all the time. She said, no, that's normal. Most people that
Right.
go overseas, they come back
Right.
with bubble guts, because you eating stuff that you don't
Yep.
normally eat. Your body got to get used to it. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And then, like my daughter, she ended up getting COVID. Couldn't go. She was already almost 2 weeks late for school. Couldn't go to school. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
there's no way, I would trade it, for anything.
Absolutely.
You
That
know,
is
it,
that is my mission. That is my
yeah,
mission. Help Black women heal, travel. And if
yes.
I can being able to incorporate both of them together has been
Mhm.
amazing.
Well,
Has
I
been
think
amazing.
all of this that you do is amazing. I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
that I was able to get back in touch with you because I felt so bad. I was like, man, I just completely dropped the ball on that,
No,
and
no,
I felt like I
listen.
disappointed you and whatnot because I really liked your program, and what you were about.
Thank
And
you.
when I started doing it here on you, actually, I didn't plan to start doing it on YouTube. I interviewed someone, who she's a hoodoo practitioner, hoodoo Heritage Month, and I wanted her to be able to share it with the world with, what it
Right,
was really all
right,
about. So I said, we did it once before, but I was feeling to do it again. And
right,
probably because
right,
it was, Hoodoo Heritage Month. And after I, did that with her, I said, wait a minute. I was doing
right.
it way back. I want to do it again. You know what I want to do it
Yeah,
again, again.
yeah. But trust
So
me, I understand that life happens. Life
yeah,
happens, and especially with being in the middle of a pandemic, that
yes.
was just a whole bunch of stuff in and of itself. So
And my life
yeah,
got completely flipped, turned upside down, completely, but it's
yes,
good. It's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Now, I got just two questions before you go.
Okay.
Have men ever approached you for help?
Men like to do. They don't come out front.
Okay.
They like to kind of do the inbox thing, like, what about this? And the thing with it is I believe that the process works the same from whomever. Like it's soul based, it's not gender based.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I feel like, men may feel more comfortable
Mm-hmm.
getting information from men.
Okay.
And I don't think that happens a lot, which is unfortunate. And
Yeah.
and I would totally help. If a man needed the same exact help, I would totally be there to help as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to my programs and things, until I get to a point where I feel like um, women can be open and free and sharing in front of men,
Yeah.
because a lot of times when it's vulnerable. You have to
Yeah.
get really, really vulnerable about the things that you've gone through and the things that you've been through, and it's harder for women to feel safe being open
Mm-hmm.
in front of men. So right now, is women,
Okay.
but I would totally help a man off, like single one on one, like a one on
Okay.
one coaching type situation.
You don't have anywhere to refer them, do you? Like for men doing this type of work for men.
Not who's doing what I'm doing,
Okay.
And like I said, I would totally be able to do the one-on-one. If it ever came down, considering a co-ed type of situation. Now, my husband is I call him my part-time partner because he helps me in the meditation session. So even on retreats, he come and he does, he does meditation sessions and classes and the things, like sunrise meditation or sunset meditation. He's the meditation guru, and
Okay.
he talks on different things as well. So it's not like they wouldn't have an avenue until we get to a space where it's like he's ready to take over that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can come together in a space, but also be able to separate inside of a space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't have anyone who I can say, this is the person to go to for this at this
Okay.
point,
Okay.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Also, I see that you're doing tapping.
Yes. And
Did
again, this is really funny because I think I started tapping in 2017.
Okay. Did you see the interview I did with Tiffany about tapping?
I did not. I did
Oh
not see it. I
wow.
have to watch it. I
Okay.
have to watch it. And it's funny
It's so
because,
old.
huh?
She was the first person I did on my Facebook when I was doing this, the
Oh no,
Facebook
I don't
Live.
know.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it. Like
Wow.
I
Okay.
started
That's so
tapping in
interesting.
2017. It was this beautiful, beautiful soul.
Okay.
She's from Africa, and she
Okay.
learned through um, the Asian the Asian creator of that particular sector of tapping, is I guess what I can call it. And
Okay.
I was learning it, and I didn't realize. I was just like, okay, so this is what I do. It would just became part of my life. I
Okay.
didn't realize that it was a thing, and
Oh,
until
okay.
I got interested in Reiki, and I
Okay.
realized like, oh, it's the concept is tapping. It's the energy healing, and so I was like, okay, so I do know it.
Mm,
It's one of those. It's like one of those tools that you don't realize you have, and that's also, as a matter of fact, part of my program as a tool um,
okay.
to help my clients along. I incorporate the body tapping and just teaching about the energy fields inside of our bodies as far as the chakras are concerned, and how we
Okay.
can dislodge the stagnant energy inside of our bodies. So that is also a part, because it's also a mind clear. It keeps
Okay.
you. It's to me, that was my successful form of meditation before I started actively just meditating. Tapping kept my brain from going all over the place.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I don't want to get too into that. She's going to be coming on to tell us more about
Oh,
tapping.
perfect.
I had
Okay.
never heard of it until till I saw her. So, and you have found that it really works.
It
Obviously.
absolutely works. It
Okay.
absolutely works. When you realize that our bodies are energy, that we're energy, and
Mm,
how tapping dislodges all of that stagnant
mm,
stuff that's going
mhm.
on, and how that stagnant stuff is what causes the disease and the different ailments that we go through. It also allows you to see where you're having challenges at, because sometimes we
Okay.
don't know why we're feeling a certain way. Why is my chest, when they, and I know you're not going to get into it, but you know how sometimes we get, when they say somebody walk into a room and you get the butterflies. There's
Yes.
a reason you get butterflies. It's because the butterflies in your stomach, that is the chakra energy field where your sexuality and all your creative exists. So that's why
Mhm.
there's butterflies in the stomach, or feels like there's butterflies in the stomach. It's just very interesting. Totally works. Totally. If when she come on, folks, I'm telling you, pay attention, because it's a lifesaver. It can be a
Yeah.
life changer for you. Yeah.
When she talked about, I did do it for a little while and I did notice some differences. I just didn't keep up with it. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many healing modalities, but I think that it was easy.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
nothing, that you felt like, it's gonna bog you down. I can't figure it out. What do this
Right.
mean? But I did notice some subtle
Yeah.
changes and
Yeah.
differences. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's along the EFT, the emotional
Mhm.
freedom technique type situations.
Okay.
It's just like maybe an extended part of the EFT.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. All right, Trina. Thank you so much for hey, we finally got it done, didn't
We
we?
got it done, right? We finally
Now,
got it done.
if you want to tell us where you're located, but definitely tell us your social media handles so people can check
Okay.
you out.
Okay, I'm located here in Maryland, Southern Maryland. I'm on Facebook as Trena Aloma. That's as in the tag on here, Trena Aloma. My business page is Aloma Solutions on Facebook, Aloma View on Instagram. I think that's that's where I
Okay.
am, but that's where I'm
Do you
mostly
have
at.
a
Yeah.
website?
I have a website at is www.trenaaloma.com. If you
Okay.
go to trenaaloma.com/free gift, I have a special video for you that you can that will be sent directly to you, and just to get you started on. Matter of fact, the video is the 3 secrets Black women are using to heal
Oh, awesome.
and
Awesome.
live,
Okay.
without fear. So trenaaloma.com/free gift. If you want
Okay.
to take advantage of
Check
that.
that out. I am myself. All right. I think that's it. I just wanted to make, oh, don't you have a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel. It's not active at this point.
Okay.
It's just I have to go back in and kind of rework that.
Okay.
I think it's just Trena or just Aloma. I can't tell you which one it is at this point because I haven't been really doing a whole bunch on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I
you're
think yeah,
okay. I know that you're definitely active on your business, on your Facebook period,
yes,
your Facebook and your personal page and your business page, because I
absolutely.
see when it
Yeah,
comes through the feed. So thank
yeah.
you so much, Trina. Thank you for being
Thank you
patient
for
with
inviting
me.
me.
And
Thank you for
I love
inviting me.
what this is that you're offering. And I hope everyone, who's come in tonight will take a look at it. And I know from spending my time and talking with Trina, she's definitely sincere about who she is and what she does. So
Thank
thank
you.
you once again.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. You be blessed.
You too. Thanks. Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye bye.